guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you are all doing okay and you've had a lovely week. Today I'm going to be coming to you with a Builder Gel, I was going to say infill appointment. It's not an infill, it's not a full set, it's a bit of both. We've got some nails that we needed to do fresh, we've got some nails that have tips on, we have some nails that are infill, so it's kind of like a little bit of everything, but it's basically a Builder Gel appointment from start to finish, including like a little consultation at the beginning and just kind of like talking the client through exactly what she wants. She's kind of discussing with me what she wants out of the appointment, and yeah, it's basically taking you through exactly what I do in a everyday appointment. I know I've done kind of like weeks in the lives and stuff previously, but I've not actually taken you through a whole appointment. I have done it before, but it was quite a while ago, and sometimes I quite like to do like little updated ones of these because I do feel like some things I kind of change here and there, and just to kind of give you guys updated advice and tips that I've kind of picked up along the way. So I basically just wanted to do a bit of an updated one, so hopefully you find it helpful. There's a bit of a shape change in there as well, and yeah, I've just basically talked you through exactly what I'm doing each step, and hopefully you guys find it helpful, especially if you're new to the nail industry or if you're new to Builder Gel. Yeah, hopefully you find it helpful, and as always, if you have any questions you can pop them in the comments or you can message me on Instagram. Any way of contacting me you can do, and yeah, I hope you find it really helpful. What we're having?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'll have a look now. I've got a few ideas.
Okay, so these have seen better days.
As per usual.
Do you know what? I'm really sad as well because you were growing them out.
I know.
And you was excited about your length. I mean, to be fair, you've still got your length on some of them. Right, okay. Well, you don't have to decide just yet, but what are your vibes? What are you thinking?
Obviously nude base, because that's what I always do.
The usual. Yeah.
I was originally going to change the shape, but I might wait till next appointment because we're all...
Was you wanting to go more almond?
Yeah. Because obviously when they're short, I like the scroval, but now they got the length. I'm a bit low. I wanted to go almond, but I think I'll wait till next time.
Okay, that's fine. So you want to keep your length on the ones you've still got your length on?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do with the other ones? Do you want me to tip them or do you want me to just allow them to catch up?
Tips, please.
Tips.
Even.
So realistically, if you're having tips on the other ones anyway, you could still
almond.
could still go almond. So you want to go more almondy?
Yes, please.
So we'll bring the sides in. I'll try and get them as almondy as I can get them, but with them being they're kind of in like the in-between awkward stage at the moment because you had scroval and you've had scroval a few times. They're at like an awkward in-between. So I'll bring the sides in. They won't be like fully almond of like what you want them, but we'll head them that way.
Perfect.
Same base, and then you can decide on design as and when. Yeah? Perfect. So this is the first thing that I do in the appointment. I will grab my barrel bit and I will have this on around 15,000 RPM and I will start filing down the product. I'll do this on each nail, and depending on the length of the nails I will repeat this process. So I'll do a nail at a time, and this client that I have in, her nails aren't super long, so there's not an awful lot of product on there at the moment. So I'll maybe repeat that process maybe twice. Sometimes on longer nails, if there is a little bit more product on there, just to have that apex in place, then I can repeat this step maybe 3 times. This is something that I actually didn't do enough when I started out doing Builder Gel. I am happy to admit that when I first started, I wasn't filing down the product as much as I should have been. And this is something that is super, super important to file down, I'd say between 70 to 80% of the product. And the reason for this is just so that you can check for any lifting and also to just check the natural nail health. So you should be able to see the free edge of the nail through the Builder Gel, and I will show you a little clip of how it should be looking when you get to that point. So this is me just taking the first layer off. Like I say, will repeat the process twice, but I don't think I filmed the second one just so that you guys didn't have to watch this all again. This is the clip that I'm talking about. I've slowed this down so that you can have a little closer look, and I want you to take note of the index finger. Now you can see that slight little lighter patch in the middle of the nail, and I can see that that nail has a little bit of lifting, and the same again on the bottom here towards the tip of the nail. You can see the lighter areas, and this will help you indicate if there is any areas of lifting on the nail. Now what I'll do is I'll kind of assess each nail separately. So if there's quite a lot of lifting, I will just soak it off. However, if there is any just kind of a little bit around the cuticle, I know that I can file it off in the next step. So there were a few breakages in this set. I can't remember how many there was in total, maybe 2, possibly 3. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to pop a little tip on. So this is me applying the tip, and I will shape that and cut that down to match the rest of the nails up. So basically with tips, I have done a video previously on Builder Gel with tips, but I will basically just explain to you a little bit about Builder Gel with tips. I don't like to do a full set with tips. I am happy to fix a couple of nails with tips just to match them up. Some nail techs won't do Builder Gel with tips at all. I'm happy to do a couple, I just wouldn't do a full set. That's purely because I prefer to have Builder Gel on a natural nail and allow it to grow out, but I don't mind doing just a couple here and there. So here's me adding 2 of the tips onto this hand, and so there we go, there is 3 in total, 3 tips that I added in total. And I think it's quite helpful actually in this video, you being able to see some nails that are going to be infilled, some that are going to be a fresh set of builder on the nail, and some that are going to be in tips. So I've applied those tips, and whilst I'm just waiting for those to fully set, what I'm going to go in with next is my Tornado drill bit. This is absolutely perfect for removing the lifting around the edges or the sides of the nail. And because I've debulked it nice and thin, I can see the areas that need removing. Now that bit is perfect because it's fine towards the top and is okay to be towards the natural nail, because that's kind of the areas that we're going to be focusing on. So not using it on the natural nail at all, but because it's close to the natural nail and around the edges where the Builder Gel isn't as thick, I just like to go in with a bit of a finer, safer bit, and that is the one that is perfect for it. So next we're going to go in with just our shaping. Now this client wanted to go a little bit more almond, as she mentioned in the consultation, and these nails didn't have a massive amount of length on them, and as I explained in the video, in the consultation, I can kind of bring those sides in and head it a little bit towards an almond shape. I know that they wouldn't have been ideal, and they're not like a perfect almond shape, but I just explained that at the start, that I can kind of start heading them that way and start kind of bringing them into an almond shape, but as they grow out, obviously we'll be able to achieve a bit of a better almond shape. So whilst the other ones are soaking off, I'm just going to cut these tips down, and I'm just going to match them up to the other nails. So what I do is I just cut them down, and I will just nip the sides just so it's a little bit easier when filing. And then I'll go in with my hand file just to shape these up and get them in the nice matching shape to the rest of the nails. So this is basically how I shape my tips, just because I've cut them into that kind of shape anyway. It doesn't take a massive amount of hand filing, which is good. And I will just shape those in from the side walls, just making sure that they're nice and flush to the nail, just running the nail file over the top really, really lightly, just to blend in that tip to the natural nail. When doing Builder Gel with tips, you just want to make sure it is nice and flush to the nail, just so that there's going to be smooth application when it comes to the Builder Gel. Now Builder Gel is a little bit more difficult to apply on a nail that has a tip on, and I will show you how I basically do my application with the Builder Gel on the nails with tips on, because it is a little bit of a tricky one to kind of suss. Just because it's not completely natural, and sometimes there can be a little bit of a dip between where the natural nail finishes and where the tip starts. So that's why you want it nice and flush when you are kind of in this prep stage, and just try and get it as neat and as natural looking as possible. So whilst I've been doing all of that, my other nails have been allowed to soak for a little bit. So I will just scrape that off. It's all ready to become, it's all kind of like ready to just flake away, and there is just a little bit of hand filing to just get any little bits off and just prepare the nail for the next few bits. Now I can't, oh yes, I was just about to say I can't remember what I did with this nail because it was only a tiny little bit shorter. Now this nail basically just needed a little bit of a tip add-in. It didn't really need a full cover nail tip like what I did with the others. So what I did is I just grabbed this little bit of fibre, and I have done a couple of videos on this, how I extend with that nail fibre. So I'll just cut a tiny little section off and just pop it into a thin layer of the builder gel. I'll set that, and then I am sure that I got the rest of it on a video a little bit later, so I'll show you how I finish that. So whilst that's actually in the lamp setting, I'm going to start my prep on the other nails. So I've pushed back the cuticles with my Glitterbels cuticle pusher, which I absolutely love because this client actually doesn't have stubborn cuticles, but with some clients that do, it's just really good to push them back, lift them up, and allow the drill bit to do the work to remove any of the dead skin and any kind of overgrown cuticle on the nail plate. So that is the first step that I do, is pushing back the cuticles. And then the second step that I do with my prep is go in with my flame bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run that around the cuticle area, and I'm just going to lift up any of the kind of dead skin, any leftover cuticle, and just kind of prep around that cuticle area where it is quite hard to kind of get any with anything else. The flame bit is an absolute dream. I don't do any appointment without using that, which leads me nicely to the mini sanding band. Now the mini sanding band is actually something that I've only recently in the most recent months started using. I prefer the mini sanding bands so much more than the larger ones. Now each to their own, some nail techs might absolutely love the larger sanding bands, but these mini ones just make me feel like I'm in so much more control of where it's going, tucking it into those areas that are hard to get. I just absolutely love them. And now I couldn't be without it. I absolutely love it. So again, we're just going around that cuticle area, and on the nails that we've fully soaked off, just using that to etch the nail plate. Now these mini sanding bands are the Nobu ones, which I can link everything down below just so that you guys can see what I'm using. So I've done all of that, and now I'm going to be going in with my mini ball bit, and I will get to that middle nail at some point and show you how I finish that. So this is the nail. So basically I've done the thin layer of builder gel. I've set that with the fibre in that builder gel, so it's set within it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a thin layer of what I would do normally. I would do my first thin layer of builder gel, and that fibre is just slightly at the end, just slightly extending it, and I'm just going to pop that some builder gel over the top of that. Now again, that's going to go back into the lamp for 60 seconds, and whilst that is in there, I'm going to carry on with my prep, and that is my cuticle nipping. Now I'm pretty sure I just got this one nail for the video, but that is my cuticle prepping, my cuticle nipping, sorry. Now that nail is done, I've just wiped that over with a little bit of acetone, and what I'm going to do is, now that that's hardened, I'm just going to file this nail into shape, and I'm just going to do this super lightly, because this is still only the thin layer of builder gel. I haven't done my thicker bead layer. So I'm just going to file that really lightly and just allow that to come in back into shape to match the natural nail. There is going to be a little bit of, I'm just measuring those up just to make sure they're the same. Now there is going to be a little bit of a uneven surface where that fibre is, so I'm just going to run my nail file over the top of that, just again really lightly, to just make it nice and flush, ready for my larger bead application. Now we're pretty much getting there towards the end of the prep, and basically just to finish everything off, I'm just going to basically rub over the nails with acetone just to dehydrate them and remove any possible leftover dust on the nail plate. And then that means that we're ready for application. So starting on the little nail, basically this is the one with a tip, and I will do the same. What I normally do, I'll just do a thin layer, and basically I'll skip the ones that need infilling, and any of the nails that don't have any product on, I'll just do that thin first layer. And what I will do is I will tend to do one nail at a time if I'm doing the larger, bigger builder bead. So any nails that just need a thin layer, I can pop that on all the nails at the same time, because I don't have to worry about any of the product moving just because you're using a thin layer. So that's the first thing that we're going to do if the nail hasn't got any product on. And then on this nail, as this was an infill, I have basically not cured anything else, and I am going to basically start my application with this infill nail. So I've placed the bead probably just a few kind of millimeters off from the cuticle, push that back towards the cuticle and just kind of really lightly drag that down. And then I always go in with my fine liner and just tuck that product into the side walls and just kind of brush it to the end, make sure it's all nice and neat, tuck it into those side walls, and I will, every time before my nail goes into the lamp, I will check it from its side profile. I will kind of run my brush up the wall, up towards the nail like this, just to kind of, because you want the product to kind of sit in the middle of the nail. But I always check it from the side profile before it goes into the lamp. And this is a full nail rather than an infill. I think this is on the other hand. And I just use a little bit more product, but again, just doing the exact same process. So just pulling the product down with my fine liner and just making sure that it's all kind of sitting exactly where I want it to be. So we want the apex towards the centre of the nail. We don't want it to be put too bulky on the ends or near the cuticle. And I will always just check it from the side, and if I need to, I will tip the hand upside down. Tipping the hand upside down will create a natural apex, and that's exactly what you want. So I have actually shown a bit of a better clip from the side profile and what you want to achieve from the side profile. It should be coming up soon, but you want to focus on getting that product right kind of in the centre, but looking nice and flush towards the cuticle and towards the end of the nail. I kind of prefer to mainly place my product in the middle of the nail and then kind of drag the product towards the side walls, just because you don't want to be piling the product towards the sides and then risking any flooding of around the cuticle or any of the side walls. So this is the nail that I actually flip upside down, and you will see here that flipping it upside down will just start to build that natural apex. So you'll see it quite flush towards the cuticle, you'll see the apex in the middle, and then it going flush towards the end of the nails. So this is the application all complete, and this is without any refining. Now the only refining that I actually do is to just kind of go over the shape. Now I don't really do any refining over the top of the nail if I don't need to. Basically, by doing one nail at a time and checking it on from the side profile before it goes into the lamp, I know that basically exactly what has gone into that lamp is going to come back out again set. So it means that I don't have to do any refining other than the shape when it's come out of the lamp. Now, I mean, some nail techs do refine after builder gel application, even if they're happy with it or not. However, I do feel like sometimes it can ruin kind of like the look of it. I just would prefer to not refine if I don't have to. But if you need to, it's not a problem. It really isn't a problem. Like I say, it's just kind of personal preference if people feel like they need to. If they don't get me wrong, I still do sometimes have the odd nail that I find I want to refine, and that's not a problem. But yeah, that's literally all the refining that I do is just neatening up the shape. Now, this client decided that she wanted this design, and we basically started off with the French. I didn't film an awful lot of the design, I don't think, but I just filmed basically the basics. So this is exactly how I do my French. I've kept it in real time so that you can see exactly how long it takes me. And the key to a good French tip is a good detail paint and a good fine liner. Now, this detail paint that I'm using is the Glitterbels Unbelievable Gel in white, and the reason that I love this for Frenchies is because it's slightly thicker consistency than normal gel and very highly pigmented. So it's only a one coat white, which is definitely what you need when you're doing a French, because who wants to be doing a French twice? Not me. Also, fluff gets everywhere. But yeah, I absolutely adore this Unbelievable Gel in white. I have them in a couple of different colours, but the white is, I purchase it over and over and over again. But yeah, it's really, really easy to work with, and that is basically me doing a French in real time. And on these ones, she was just having the Blooming Gel dots. So with Blooming Gel, I have a love-hate relationship with Blooming Gel. It works wonders and it creates great things, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Like sometimes you wipe it off, you do it again, you wipe it off, you do it again, and maybe you'll get it on the third time. So it is a little bit temperamental. So if you've ever tried Builder Gel and you feel like you're not getting on with it, you're not alone. Like it is very, very temperamental. But this was the kind of design she wanted. And she wanted a Blooming Gel flower, like a larger one on this nail. So I just got a quick clip of me doing the Blooming Gel flower. Again, these are super temperamental. You've got to have the perfect amount of Blooming Gel. You don't want too much on your nail. And with these Blooming Gel flowers, you've got to work as fast as you possibly can to make sure that the petals bloom at the same rate, because you've got to remember that the first dot that you put on there is going to be blooming for longer than the last one. So to get them even is really difficult. So if you struggle, don't give yourself a hard time, because it is hard. But yeah, this is the final look, and these were all fresh again, and we absolutely loved it. So there you go, guys, that is the appointment all done, and hopefully you found it really, really helpful. As always, like I said previously, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask me anything. If I can help with it, I will obviously help you with anything, give you any tips. And yeah, I hopefully you just found it helpful to go through it step by step and give you my tips and tricks and exactly what I do and how I do it and all of that jazz. So yeah, hopefully you found it helpful, and please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.